What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Team Solemn Circus live video. On the left side here, we have Crystron going up against Mitsurugi. Both these decks are very highly represented. I know that the Crystron deck is going to be a pretty budget deck here that a lot of players are playing. Mixed with some of the horse cards or as with the cash cards as well, depending on what your budget is, what your play style is, as well as sometimes also being the adventure engine. This is going to be at the regionals as well, so huge shows for both players to being at the regionals here. And we do see Mitsurugi, it looks like winning the die roll, going to be able to go first. Which is having a huge advantage here. You know, this deck is going to be absolutely insane at going first, being able to set up these boards, making their opponents discard cards, and then being able to negate cards, and then making the board being destructed whenever we want to summon back out the copy of the Murakano or whatever it's called. But we do see a pre-prep going to be activated, letting us search for the mirror as well as the copy of Murago. And then we do activate the copy of the ritual, summoning out the Murago there, being able to dump from the deck. It's going to be dumping our copies of the black and the white one here. They're super rare. The Aramasa, and then I don't even know the other one's name, like the Kusanagi, whatever. But then I'll search for and add back for the ritual, and then we search for, I believe it was a copy of the Habakiri. And then we do go for the ritual once again. Going to be tributing off that copy of the Murago for the Futso. That's going to let us summon out the Murago as well as searching for the trap card here, which is going to be the negate, and summoning itself out. And I do a second to read the trap card, which is not looking like a good sign here. Purification is going to be an absolute insane card. You know, being able to tribute the monster, which then can summon itself back out, letting you search for another card here. And we do see them activate a mirror now, tributing off to summon out the Habakiri. Then we're going to see the Futso going to be searching once again for the prayers and then summoning itself out. And now we have a whole bunch of level 8s on the field here, which we could overlay up into one of the new Galaxy Eyes monsters to search for any Rizal card, or we could just go up into a copy of our number 90 or whatever, a 38, depending on what we want to. We go for a prayers, which can search for the last one that we have not searched for here, the fire-looking one, which is going to be, I don't even know what the name of this one is actually. The Saji, I believe it is. That's going to allow also summon out the copy of Kusanagi. And we do see the Habakiri summoning itself out as well. And then we overlay up into, or we can link away for an IP, I suppose. Now, they have no idea what our opponent is playing. And this is going to be at a regionals level, so it is going to be very important that we actually choose correctly in this point. We do go for a number 90 Photon Lore, which is going to be a monster negate. And now, do we link away the Futso as well as the Kusanagi for that IP? But we do go for a normal summon of the Saji. That's going to allow us to add a spell and trap from our deck to our hand, which we could activate the prayers or add prayers here. But we do go up into an IP now, and we set 3 additional cards and pass turn on this. So pretty nice. Obviously, you know, we want to be able to use the number 90, getting rid of that Murakamo from under it first, so it can be summoned properly back from the graveyard. But we just scoop it up and realize that we cannot beat that board altogether. And now what's really important, and what is really good gameplay here, is that we actually scoop before we let our opponent know what deck we're on. In fact, we haven't used a single hand trap. So like if you use an impulse, for example, we could actually tell that we're on certain decks, or probably playing certain decks. But like depending on what we kind of have there, it kind of just reveals what we had. Now we had no hand traps, which means that our opponent might believe we actually playing a board breaker or somewhat of a less heavy hand trap deck, or we just bricked. You know, you never really know. We obviously did wait to draw for turn, so that might give them belief that we do have the ability to break the board. But our opponent has absolutely no idea what we are on, and especially for Crystron, you know, it does have a very sleeper, you know, some of the stuff that it does get beat by is obviously Duel and Lancia, which is very, very relevant in the format. But at the same time, Malice has the ability to break boards a little bit. Maybe not against that end board in specific, but, you know, having the ability to play those Bestials or playing the March Hares in this case to be able to banish from the graveyard, it doesn't really matter if our board kind of gets wiped. But now we're going to be going into game 2 completely blind, not knowing what our opponent is playing. And hopefully they sided incorrectly here. And so now we're going to be seeing the Crystron deck end up choosing to go first here. And we're finally going to be seeing the deck of choice. It looks like we also have a Cashier card in the hand as well, being in the form of Birth. And they do open up an Ash Blossom. We do see a normal summon of a Smiter, which is going to be one of the weaker normal summons, or I guess one of the weaker starters in the deck. Now, obviously, Smiter is going to be a full combo by linking me into Clockwork Knight, being able to banish. But we do go for a Fua here. Now, we chain an Ash Blossom. This is going to be extremely important to chain because we are going to be going a lot into that extra deck to make it worth it there. And Ash is not always the greatest, other than like maybe on prayers. So, kind of important. Now, we do activate a Birth here. Zero reason to do that, I will say. And we try to go for Smiter's effect. Okay, that also I would say is a misplay. But we're going to go up into Clockwork Knight here. Maybe they want to go for... Maybe they want to be able to have the ability to chain block if they kind of get hand trapped there. But not looking too great. We go for Clockwork Knight. And then we're going to activate the effect of Thrust to be able to set from our deck. But our opponent... Okay, we go for a D-Barrier. Once again, I don't think I actually use a Thrust right away, honestly. We just pass on this. Why do we not try playing with Smiter here? That is definitely a misplay on our parts. Do we think D-Barrier is going to be enough here? Yeah. I'm going to be honest. That definitely was a huge misplay. Smiter banished itself, searching for inclusion. Activate inclusion, search for the copy of whatever it's called, the level 5 Solfador. And that's just full combo at this point. Also, our opponent already used an Imperm. They're down to 3 cards in their hand. We can set up an Infinity as well as a Dawn Drag, so leaving them 2 cards that we can't really air quotes negate. So, probably a huge misplay, unless the effect of Smiter says you can only use 1 or each of the effects per turn here. I'm actually going to pull out a copy of my Crystron deck and make sure that it does not say that here. You only use 1 Smiter effect per turn and only once that turn. Yeah. That was a huge misplay on our part. So there was absolutely zero reason to activate the effect on the field to destroy to summon, because that was summon a Synchro with Tuner, and then we can't even use the effects, so we can't even link away. So we go link away into like the levels 5. Yeah, we definitely should not have done that. We should have linked away and kind of played through that. So that was a huge mistake on our parts there. I definitely think that Crystron could have played. I know Crystron could have played that better. You know, linking away, not using the effect, not having the Birth in the hand still, and then we go for Smiter for inclusion. Inclusion go for the level 5, but level 5 destroy someone out. And then you could dump, you know, it's still not the greatest, of course. You dump the level 2, which is Tristalos, then you dump like another copy of like Thivern, and then, or even Salvador, and then you just go for the spell card, Reborn out the Tristalos. Now, we are getting hit with a hand trap here, but like looking at this, like we have absolutely nothing. We're seeing the Mitsurugi deck combo off here. I'm not even voicing over them because I'm just so upset at the fact that how badly we played here. And we're taking some damage, which is going to be pretty fine here because we are so far ahead. Now, we haven't even used D-Barrier yet, which is kind of crazy. Like, they're just kind of beating us up without even using any of these ritual monsters. So we know they're there. So I might as well deal some damage. You know, taking us down to 58 is going to be pretty deadly. And it's like, if we make a decent board and we don't even kind of like combo off, we just dealt with the D-Barrier, and like our opponent is going to be pretty down. All they have left is going to be the Smiter and like a couple other unknowns in the hand here. But we should for a Gallic. We're going to go for overlay for a Gallic Granite. Letting us for Nibiru here. So we're playing it very, very slow, and honestly, it's very understandable at this point. Like now, our opponent can't really even combo off because we have him in the hand, and we have a searched hand trap. Like at this point, Crystron just knows we're going to lose. Like, we're 100% going to lose. Like, we're going to be summoning 5 times for sure. We now can't summon. You didn't even throw up D-Barrier here. It's like, what are we doing? I mean, I'm kind of glad we didn't ask for D-Barrier because, like, we would have not been able to, you know, play. At least now we have another blowout turn. So we're going to go for draw for turn here. And then we go for a copy of the Smiter. Now, we do go for ashing this here. If they had Ash in the previous turn, it definitely would have hurt. Now, obviously, would have left them with less cards in the hand. But we now go for the copy of the Salvador, and they do impulse this. And so it's kind of important to notice that they activated Extravagance here. So they drew 2 more additional cards. That's 2 more hand traps they could have hand trapped you with. Now, they could have had a brick in the hand. They could have had anything else. You give them 2 other cards and you decide, nah, I want to play a combo, as well as a worse combo turn 0. We don't do that here. We do not do that. Now, I make misplays. Don't get me wrong. I misplay a lot. Now, if you are watching this, I'm not going to reveal your name. I don't even know who you are. Please learn the deck better. In fact, I want to make myself that when I play the deck, I want to play my deck better. I'm never going to go to a regionals. I say never with very loose words here. Going to take a deck that I do not know to a regionals. Now, obviously, if I'm doing it for a video, like how far can I take a deck to a regionals, I just never know the deck before. That's a different situation. I've thought about that numerous times. But if you're taking a deck like Crystron, which is going to be a rogue deck, you have to know how to play your deck, especially against some of these best decks in the room, like Mitsurugi, which you have to be able to play against for sure. Like there's zero reason not to. Like this is just a huge misplay on our part. So we drew into perhaps Ash Impulse, and that just shut us off our entire turn. Like now we go for Salvador. We don't have the copy of Smiger, and like summoning out the tuner in the first game. Like all we've gone for is a level 5 synchro. That sucks. We could have gone like for everything. We could have gone for Infinity there instead. Be able to summon back out, and like that's just absolutely insane to me that we just chose a worse combo. Than to, like, actually just play a better combo and, like, perhaps just win the game. So, like, honestly, if Crystron makes it back from this game, they've miraculously won this. I can see this being a very clean sweep by Mitsurugi here. And, yeah, this was honestly just kind of insane to me. I'm so flabbergasted at the fact that we're just opting to play this that bad. We're going to see Mitsurugi not be able to kind of get game. We take them down to 13 here. And I don't know if we're just playing with our food. We did get hit with D-Barrier, so we can't go into any ritual monsters. But we now go for the Evil Swarm, which is going to be just a Book of Moon type stuff when they do summon. I don't think they're going to be summoning here. But, yeah, we're down to 13. We are very low. We go for a Zeus now. Like, if you want to even kind of continue playing, we're going to Zeus your ass at some point, too. We have a Book of Moon and a Zeus. It's like the game's going to be over here. Now, we do have the copy of Smiger once again in the graveyard. This is going to finally resolve. The first Smiger that should have been activated turn 0 finally gets activated on turn number, I believe it's 5. Or maybe it's turn 4. Now, we finally get the inclusion. We activate inclusion. I hope it gets popped. I really do. I hope it gets hit with like some kind of random stuff. Maybe even Zeusing this. But, I mean, you should not Zeus this. I'm going to be honest. Let it resolve. We do see them search for the copy of Thyvern here. And then we just reveal what we kind of do. Why are we not searching for Salvador? We're going for the effect of Salvador in the graveyard. I meant Sulfanir, by the way. We're going for Salvador now, discarding the Thyverns because we want to search for that monster, which is going to most likely end up popping that copy of the trap card here. Now we can activate the effect of the Salvador popping maybe itself, or popping maybe the copy of Birth here. Now we're going to pop itself here, activating the effect. They're going to let that resolve. Now we're going to be seeing the copy of Sulfadir. Now we're going to see Sulfadir going to be activating, dumping 2 cards. Now we're definitely going to Book of Moon this. Say goodbye, Sulfadir. And you still resolve, of course. So we are going to be still dumping 2 cards. But what cards are we going to opt to dump? Now we are going to choose for another Sulfadir as well as the copy of Tristalos. Then we activate the effect trying to destroy the inclusion. I've included that we just are throwing. I mean, there's not much we can really do now. Whenever we activate the inclusion effect, summon back out, it's a perfect opportunity to Zeus. So, like, why would we stop? We're also almost going to be at Nib summon. So, like, okay, if you play through this Zeus, we can still nib you, and we're going to be Book of Mooning once again. And now we go for inclusion to summon. And, like, now whenever they do respond, we can go for the copy of Tristalos, banish to summon, or, chain to summon, but whatever. We go for Thyvern now, which can search for a copy of a monster. We're going to search for another copy of Sulfadir, it looks like. And then we're going to be chibi summoning to summon it out. Okay, so we're playing 3 Sulfadir. And that's interesting. Now we're going to opt for Zeus. We change Tristalos here, something that they call Sulfadir. Then we're going to go up into our copy of the Samurai Destroyer. So we do know this much about the deck. That's pretty decent. Now we're going to go for Samurai Destroyer, summon back out from the graveyard. Now it can't summon itself out, I believe. If it could, that'd be busted because then we can go for Tristalos effect. But okay, so it can do itself. Then we're going for Tristalos effect, pop in the Samurai Destroyer. Summon 2 from the deck. But they still have Nib in the hand. Look at how many cards Mitsurugi has. Like, they're just absolutely winning this. We're going to summon out 2 from the deck here. And we've already gone through 2 level 5, so we can't go for an Infinity Nova play, which is important to note. Also a huge misplay on our part here. So it looks like we're going to go for another Smiger. And do they even have to? And a Tristalos? Nice. Looking at Graveyard, we do see a little bit of panic. They went through 3 Sulfadirs in 1 turn, which is definitely a bit crazy. We do have the Tristalos as well as the Smiger. Interestingly, we're not playing Citri. And then we do see the Nibiru, which we knew was there, but at this point, we're just losing the game anyways. So we see the Nib being dropped, and the game is sealed. Now, it is nice that we see that Crystron is playing through 3 interruptions, actually 4 interruptions, but they get stopped on the 4th. So we're going to see Prayers can activate, going for tributing off the Habakiri, and we're comboing off. That's it. That's all. We're going to be searching for cards. We're going to be summoning out cards. We're going to be winning the game. Now we do pay 8. We search for the copy of the Aramasa. And we do get to summon out our copy of the Saji as well here. Or we're going for the Kusanai instead, so we'll be able to add back a card. Okay. So we add back the Mirror, which is going to be pretty fine, but they are thinking in response to this. They do take a second to read the Aramasa. And I don't exactly know what they can do to kind of stop this either. We're going to be kind of Ghost Spell. Okay, that makes sense. Making us not be able to add. That is pretty good because then we're not going to be able to add back that to get another Ritual Summon here. But we do go for the Ritual Summon from the deck, being able to blow up and just attack for game. We do see Mitsurugi taking it. Kind of insane that we were struggling that much against Crystron when they were throwing themselves. But yeah, game to turn 0 was just absolutely horrible. I can't believe we played it like that. If you're watching, no hard feelings. I make misplays a lot. Just make sure you learn from it. You know, Crystron is a very powerful deck that if you play properly, you can have sitting up board. We don't know exactly what the cards were in their hand, but you know, we definitely should have played it a bit better there. Unfortunately, we did not able to play. I mean, it is a regionals. You do get stage fright. You know, I've misplayed a lot at regionals. I remember in Super Heavy Samurai format, I left the level 1 of my foes up to level 4. No ever reason to do that there, so definitely, you know, mistakes on my part. But yeah, regardless, hope you enjoyed the video. And if you want to see some more Mitsurugi or some more Crystron comment, let me know in the comment section down below. I'll make sure to get that on the channel here. And thank you for watching. Stay safe. Peace.